4th, 2014 Village Board meeting. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by two fine Boy Scouts from Troop 149. Boys.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Roll call, please.
Stapleton.
Here.
Virgilio. Here. Latzer.
Here.
Childicus.
Present.
Maples.
Here.
Snagowski.
Here. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of minutes for February 10th, 2014, Village Board meeting, February 10th, 2014, Committee of the Whole meeting, approval of disbursements, an appointment of Christina Smith as the village treasurer, an ordinance amending Lemont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, section on alcoholic beverages for the Target store, an ordinance amending Lemont Municipal Code, Section 5.04, alcoholic beverages for increasing the number of Class 1 liquor licenses for G7 Oil Corporation, doing business as BP Petroleum, and an ordinance amending Lemont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, Section 5.04, alcoholic beverages, increasing the number of Class A liquor licenses for Gelsasimo Pizza. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
By Trustee Snagowski, second by Trustee Childicus. For the record, the village treasurer is a housekeeping issue that we talked about as far as in chain of command that we have in the finance department now. Nothing taken away from Ted. It just has to be, as far as for financial documents, having Chris as the village treasurer and having that title as well as finance director. Target, we met, the liquor commission met tonight on 3 different issues. The first one being Target, I'll come back to that one, but the BP station, Shell station across the street, had requested one after long conversations with Chief Shaughnessy. He felt fine that there was no issue in selling beer and wine at that establishment to help with gross revenue and gross sales. And then the BP station, after they were awarded it, wanted to have the same thing, and that will transpire as well. Target stores as a whole across the United States are 62 in the Chicagoland area. Half of them sell beer, wine, and liquor right now, and they're in the process of getting approvals through other municipalities throughout the state, for beer, wine, and sales. It was very interesting talking to the general manager at our Target store. She's been in the Target management team for 9 years now. She's been at our store for 2 years, and the revenue, they started out at about 22 million, they're up to 27 million as far as gross sales. They continue to have year after year same sales increases, which is nice to see. Their grocery business, once they added the grocery, they spent about, was it $1.5 to $2 million as far as the addition of that store for grocery sales. The grocery sales represents 33% of their gross revenue of that store. I thought that was a high number. Shocked on it. But good to see that people are shopping at that Target store. And then on top of it, this was a number that I think was extremely amazing. Since we already have a Starbucks in town, the Starbucks inside the Target store does another additional $10 million in sales here.
Go.
I said the same thing. So just between 2 Starbucks, we have sales of close to $25 million or such in town. So between just 2 Starbucks stores. So people do go to Starbucks. Or Dunkin' Donuts, we'll go with that. I'm glad you actually brought up that. I'm going to come back to Dunkin' Donuts in a minute for that, because someone reached out to us that all the high school students back and forth to Dunkin' Donuts on state archery is hiring. So they wanted me to pass that along tonight. So girls, you want somebody to work this summer, you guys can work at Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins and enjoy the summer. Hoping it's warm and get make lots of sales up there. Josasimo Pizza, they are taking over the former This Must Be the Place / Mindful Cafe. A couple from town are the owners that are going to be owning the establishment. They're working with Tom Josasimo. He has 9 restaurants around the Michigan, Indiana area. He has been in business since 1974, and all 9 of his restaurants are still in operation today. So we are excited about having them in town. It's going to be a sit-down pizza place. Obviously selling beer and wine, so we have to do a liquor commission today. But they hope to be open sometime sometime in June. So looking forward to working with the building department. So it's a very smooth and easy process, right, Mr. LaChapelle?
That's correct.
We'll try it again, right, Mr. LaChapelle?
Yes, Mr.
Thank you. There we go. Excellent, Mr. LaChapelle. But no, I told them that we want to sit down and have a tech review with them ahead of time. They want to add a couple pizza ovens that we have to do that area in the kitchen. Other than that, they want to take it back to like a 1950s type pizza style place, checkered tablecloths, candles, wine candles like that. So again, bar area, restaurant type area, and then live music, band, things like that for local talent and stuff in the back. So again, excited about them coming into town. Also, I want to make sure that everyone knows our next board meeting on March 10th will begin at 6:30 as well. Due to the amount of items that we have to get through as far as, especially with the budget. We will be having a village board meeting on March 24th. That was previously unscheduled due to spring break, but with all of us being in town, we still plan on having a meeting due to, again, the extent of items that we need to try to work through. If the snow ever leaves, the Mayor's Drive for Charity is still scheduled for Monday, April 28th. Ruffled Feathers today did talk to Linda and said that they believe the greens will be ready, and depending on how much water we have, we may be walking or we may be floating throughout the rest of the course. But they still plan on having the course open for us on the 28th. Again, weather permitting. So that is what I have under the mayor's report. Okay. With that, we will go to a proclamation, again for the rest of everybody else here, and then people on
Mayor,
at
did we
home.
vote on the consent agenda?
Oh, we did not. We're going to have to vote on the consent agenda. Roll call. I got it right. Thanks, Jeff. That's one thing you get. That's one thing you get for. That's why you're here.
Okay, Stapleton.
Yes.
Virgilio.
Yes.
Fletcher.
Yes.
Janikis.
Yes.
Nikos.
Yes.
Snagowski.
Yes.
Motion approves. Next on the mayor's report, we have a proclamation for the state champion, Lemont High School.
Whereas for the 4th year, the Lemont High School varsity cheerleaders captured the 2014 IHSA Medium Division Cheerleading State Championship in Bloomington, Illinois on February 8th. And whereas, under the direction of head coach Dave Berlenbach, the Lemont varsity cheerleaders posted a top score of 88.22 in the preliminary round of 25 entrants, which advanced them on to one of the top 10 teams to compete in the championship round, where they took first place with a posted score of 90.84. Whereas in addition to the Lemont cheerleading squad's 4 state titles, they finished as state runner-ups in 2007, 8, 13, and brought home 3rd place trophies in 2006 and 12. Whereas it must be recognized that competition at the state level requires dedication, determination, passion, and persistence by each squad member individually and as a team, as well as the complete commitment of the cheerleaders, their parents, and Coach Dave Berlenbach, and assistant coaches Bree Brady and Brittany Cantorino. And whereas it is fitting and proper that we recognize senior Indian varsity cheerleaders Madison Dietrich, Emily Durham, Gianna Letizia, Miranda Newman, Rebecca Perino, Kelsey Tate, Gianna Turek, and Danielle Wohead. Juniors, Easton Carell, Marianne Kozneski, Ellie Knimberg, Nicole Markley, Stephanie Markley, Kylie Norris, Samantha Polomo, Jenna Bulk, and Samantha Wallace, sophomores Aaron Cliff, and Caitlin Kursky, and freshman Caitlin Henry. Now, therefore, I, Brian K. Reeves, Mayor of Lemont, on behalf of the Village Board of Trustees and the entire community, hereby commend the Indian Varsity Cheerleading Squad on an outstanding performance, and hereby express our pride and sincere congratulations to the coaches and the dedication and talented 2014 IHSA Medium Division State Championship Lemont High School Varsity Cheerleaders. Dated at Lemont this 24th day of February 2014.
And a motion to approve said proclamation. Trustee Glatzer, second by Trustee Snagowski. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Again, congratulations. You're welcome. Let's see what the
Cameras are.
Get your back now. Or else. Turn. There you go. Yeah, scoot down. They can't see me all.
Right here.
This one goes on online, so I'll do that one.
All right, girls, can you look this way? 1, 2, 3. Excellent.
Farnham, you got enough for the paper?
I already took them.
Okay, good man. Don't mess this up. All right. All these parents in here will have a real issue with you guys, all right? All right, you're welcome, girls. Look forward to seeing you guys at senior honors. We got a real fun packed meeting. You guys ready? Yeah, thanks, Mayor.
Well, if you want to stay and we'll stay, you're more than welcome.
Good luck to you and your daughter.
Hey, Mike.
Form 149. See ya.
All right, next on the agenda is audience participation as it relates to agenda items or other items within the village. I can also state as far as what I've done as far as on the mayor's report, as far as any updates, there is no updates to report over the last week and a half, 2 weeks in regards to the sports centers. Nothing new at this time. So with that, anybody have any comments, concerns, or questions they'd like to ask this time?
Arlene Bergman, resident of Lemont for almost 14 years, registered here. A couple weeks ago, in the Suburban Life, they had, they wanted the towns to vote for their favorite pizza place. I've been on vacation, I don't know the results. But also, in the Lemont phone book, on page 143, register your voice to vote. Our board and our mayor has taken that privilege away from the residents. And we're talking anywhere from 21 mil up to 42 mil and possibly higher. All I'm asking is that you give the residents a chance to vote on the sportsplex. Thank you.
Jim Lattice, 90 Timberline Drive in Lemont. Members of the board, Mr. Mayor, a little more than a month ago, I was publicly accused of teasing and mocking you at your meeting with Let Us Vote representatives last December. I had no idea that you would find my comments or actions insensitive, and for this I apologize. But perhaps my failure to appreciate your feelings comes from the fact that we don't share the same point of view. Sitting down in the audience, things look a lot different than it seems to appear to you up on the dais. Many of us were stunned by your action, the action of the board last January 28th when you voted unanimously for a $21 million sports complex. And we were astounded when you held what you called a hearing a few weeks later after you had already made your decision. We were not your enemies. I didn't even know anything about most of you and very little about the rest. But your actions made us feel that you viewed us as the enemy. You kept us in the dark about your plans until it was too late for us to do anything. That is, except for the only option you left us. If we could collect enough petition signatures to put the issue on the ballot, the whole town could decide about the plan. And we did just that, getting more than double the number of legally required signatures. And you, Mr. Mayor, congratulated us for participating in the democratic process. And we were still not your enemies, but once again, you treated us like enemies. You voted to kill the referendum, suggesting that the voters could be misled. Your actions said that you did not trust us, you did not respect us, and you did not value our judgment. This is not what you expect from a friend. Your attitude and actions have continued to leave us in shock and disbelief. We find it hard to take seriously your offers to discuss things, to get answers to our questions. Mention of the Citizens Advisory Committee ring hollow with many of us after so many months of seeing our views disregarded and our efforts subverted. Yet we are still not your enemies. We may never be your friends, unlike all of you who often stress your affection and admiration for each other, but we could still be your allies, still learn to cooperate in efforts to improve the town. In closing, let me say that you must first stop your drive to take us into debt. Stop your borrowing negotiations. Let us start over, examining all possible options for dealing with our downtown problems. And above all else, before the village ever involves us in high-cost projects, let us vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lattice.
Good evening, Mayor, village trustees. My name is Janet Hughes, and I'm a taxpayer from Lemont. I'll start when I have your attention.
Mrs. Hughes, you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Blatzer, for your attention. Thank you, Trustee Virgilio, for your attention. Thank you, Trustee Stapleton. And Trustee Nichols. Thank you, Trustee Snedowski. Thank you, Trustee Chilikas. Mr. Mayor.
Janet, I'm listening.
The Committee of the Whole meeting is following this board meeting, and I noticed again that they have the sports complex listed on page 32, and it says here, the current feasibility studies and engineering is several years old. Several years old. You mean from 2014 or 2013? And it's, pardon? Oh, I thought someone was answering my question. Anyways, again, they're talking about spending another $150,000 on another study. I'm rather confused. In the Chicago Tribune 3 weeks ago, for those residents that missed the story, front page, there was an article on Lemont, they want vote, but won't get it. And it's still available online if you Google Chicago Tribune, Lemont Sports Complex. you'll be able to find the story. But in the article, Mayor Reeves is quoted saying that there isn't time for a vote. But this doesn't make sense, because last year, they unveiled the plan back in January 2013, and then we had a public hearing a couple weeks later, and then we had 30 days as residents to force a vote on the issue, which we did. We did submit our required petition signatures. And then a year later, almost a year later, they repealed that ordinance. So does the board really know what it's doing? I'm very confused. You want to spend another $150,000? I personally think that the matter should just be dropped. The land is not even owned by Lemont. It's contaminated. There has been no cost as to how much it will cost to clean that land up, and if we can even build on it. So I'm really concerned about the actions of this board right now. I also received in my tax bill, everyone get their tax bill? It's due next week. I thought this was great. They included in every tax bill, read your tax bill. And on the other side it says, why are your taxes so high? That captured my attention because my taxes went up. I don't know about yours. But it says here that our local governments rely on your tax dollars to function. Isn't that interesting? So that means that this sports complex that the village wants to proceed with is really going to be funded by our tax dollars. And then it says here, as local government spending increases, your tax bill goes up. Folks, I don't want my taxes going up. I may be taxed out of my house. And the only way to control our taxes from going up is to control the spending. And let's bring that spending vote back to the residents. Please give us that chance to vote on this issue. We have a right as residents. We have a right as citizens. We have a right as taxpayers to have a say in this matter. This is not $2,100. This is $21 million and up. Mayor Reeves?
You got 1 minute.
I have 1 minute?
That's it.
Great, wonderful. 1 minute. Mayor Reeves? Last week you said last meeting you said there was a 50-50 chance.
I did.
I think we should give that chance to the voters. Let the voters decide. This should not be up to a 7-member board to decide on the future of Lemont's taxes. And additionally, it has been said in the past by members of the community that we're not even sure if this is a project that government should be involved in. This is something the private sector should fund. So again, I am asking the board to answer my question from 2 weeks ago. What is the plan now with the sports complex? I presented you a letter last week and I'm hoping for an answer. Hopefully by the next board meeting.
It is in staff's hands right now.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Residents, I want to remind you, please look up that Chicago Tribune article, Lemont Sports Complex from January 31st, and also read your tax bill. Local governments depend on your taxes. Thank you.
Rick Whitehart, 525 6th Street, Lemont. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. First of all, I have to say thank you. I never thought the complexities of understanding such a sports complex were so complex. But now that the group from Love is investigating all of these facets, I can understand what you're dealing with, because we're trying to deal with it too. Looking at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, the IEPA, talking with the township, talking with Mesereau, talking with people from Romeoville, understanding the studies. Are the studies biased? Is the sampling wrong? Who did the studies? How much did we pay for the studies? Working with the FOIA requests, understanding revenue bonds, general obligation bonds, debt certificates, working with the Illinois Attorney General, the Cook County Attorney General. understanding that the law is meant to be literally taken, or the spirit of law, and obviously the taxation, and the sorrow that I have for the cheerleaders who are here tonight. Because no one told them that in 20 years, when their parents are clapping and applauding and taking nice pictures, and they look back, and in 20 years when they go to work, when half of their labor would be going to pay for taxes, nobody tells them about that. Not their school teachers, not their parents, nobody. And what I saw here were young faces who in 30 years, when they get hit with a situation like Ukraine, they'll say, what happened 20 years ago when I got that nice little award? Nobody told me the taxes nobody shared this with me. My point is, I think Jim has it right. This issue is about debt. I'm not arguing the sports complex or whatever we need. I'm arguing about debt. The Ukrainian president, he's out. You've been watching the news, very peaceful. Yes, people got killed. I get it all, understand. But it was a revolution. And it was all about money and politics. And that's exactly what we're here about. Money and politics and taxation. And I would just encourage you, because sometimes leaders get in a position, and I've dealt with this from church leadership, business leadership, they get in a situation they can't get out. And they're looking for a way out to save face, whether it's some kind of horrific sin or whatever it is. I would encourage the board, please reevaluate this. Look for a way out of this. All the studies we on the Love Group we've conducted, if I thought we saw something positive, I tell you, we're just not seeing it positive. We're not seeing the revenues. Then we learned that MWRP is going to get 25% of the revenues. If there are revenues, why should the WRP get anything at all? I mean, if this is, and if this does make revenues, what about giving a tax rebate back to the taxpayers if it does? I don't want to go on long here, but when I saw those cheerleaders' faces and I saw their parents clapping, and I saw and I don't mean this negatively, their ignorance, their lack of understanding of the future in 15 or 20 years if our country, our state, our townships, our counties, and our villages keep going like this. Sometimes you just got to say no, and it's so hard to do. So I would just ask my board and the mayor, look for a way out of this. Please look for a way out, because the debt, it's a killer no matter what you look at. So I thank you, and I sincerely mean that. I appreciate the complexities with what you've had to go through to investigate this. I didn't really understand the complexity of it, and I still don't. I'm learning. I don't understand all the debt financing and the revenue bonds and obligation bonds, but I can tell you there's about 10 or 15 people on this Love group that has a category specialized to understand that, because we can't put our hands around the whole thing. And I know you have a team too. So maybe if we can work together and put our minds together and say, you know, maybe this isn't a way to go for this thing. I would just ask the board to consider that. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. You know, just 2 weeks ago, you said the same, a lot of the same message, stuff like that. And I said at that time, give me a call. As I say every board meeting, call my office, schedule an appointment. I'm open throughout, I make a point to go to anybody that's ever contacted my office over the last 11 years. Nobody. It's, same thing with the emails. I check with the trustees back and forth. There's people that come up and talk to us throughout town and ask questions back and forth. But, and we get just as many people come up that say, go forward with it, as there are people that, that are in opposition that come to meetings on Mondays. So, it's, I'm open to sitting down, and look at things. I'll show you what we've looked at for not just the last 11 years I've been on the board, but for the time that previous trustees have been on the board, and seen all the studies from URS. I don't know how many different studies and and workshops that previous boards go back to Mayor Kwasniewski, when he was even a trustee under Mayor Borsley. And that's when the bridge was in the middle of downtown. That was the traffic pattern coming through town. It is a destination location. You have to have a draw. Staff and myself are going through everything we have right now for the State of the Village areas. And when you look at the revenue numbers, based upon sales tax, again, sales tax revenue, people spending money in our jurisdiction, it has dropped 38% since 2007, right? That'd be a good number. About 30% since 2007. As you know, like you talked about, costs haven't dropped 30% since 2007. Even though we had a decrease, even though we went through the Great Recession, costs continue to go. Pensions continue to go up. We're in the midst of, getting ready to go through the police contracts coming up. It has nothing to the officers, back and forth. And I try to, tell the guys right now, it's gonna be very thin. But when, I've got 82 other mayors that I work with and talk with around the state, just around the 6-county area.
Yeah.
They go to arbitration, and guess what? We as a village lose every time.
Every time, you lose every time.
So, it doesn't matter. And those are usually 3%, 3 to 4%. I can tell you right now on Metro, I can't believe what MAP's asking for. They're asking for 6% a year for the next 6 years, a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
So that's 36% from today to what they make compounded over the next 6 years. It is a struggle on a day-to-day basis where we're heading in the state of Illinois. I'm not going to disregard that, and I can tell you right now, the budget meetings that we're going to have and start, I was hoping to start right now, are going to be prized